Speed! As of February 2023, Sonic Speed Simulator has been rebranded into Sonic Speed Sim Reborn. Pretty much everything has changed, from how the worlds look and feel, how Chaos and Trails work, everything has been rebalanced. My spreadsheet from the last video is useless, but don't worry, I made another one, and I'm here to give you the rundown on how everything works. So buckle up and get ready to deep dive in Sonic Speed Simulator Reborn. Let's start with red rings. Red rings are a new currency, and you use them to level up Chao and Trails. That's right, you can't just level them up anymore by equipping them, now you have to spend currency on them. To be more precise, you need an increasing amount of regular rings every time you level them up. And you also need an increasing amount of red rings every 5 levels. We haven't found a solid pattern on how many rings or red rings you need per Chao, but a good rule of thumb is the better the Chao or Trail, the more rings and red rings you're gonna need. Also, Chao and Trails only level up to 25 now. That's right, that is the new maximum level, 25. Even for evolved Chao and Trails, yes, you can still evolve things, we'll talk about that later. The main thing I need you guys to be aware of is within the first update of the game, there is a limited amount of red rings that you can collect. You get red rings from completing quests, you get red rings if you had previously played Sonic Speed Sim before it updated, you get a little bonus. You can also get 100 red rings for free by using this code. Unless it's expired, I'm sorry if it has. Now I'm sure as time goes on and the game gets updated more, there's going to be more ways for you to get red rings. But as of right now, this is your fair warning. There is a limited amount of them, spend them carefully. Okay, now we're going to talk about rebirthing. So previously, the rebirth system would work exactly how you expect it would. You level up to a certain point, the game then prevents you from leveling up any further until you rebirth, then once you do rebirth, your level goes back to 0, but you get some kind of multiplier that carries over. That's a pretty standard rebirth system that happens in a lot of mobile games. But not anymore. The rebirth system has changed. Now there's no level cap. You can just keep going forever. You can just keep leveling up as much as you want. But once you hit level 100, you have the option to rebirth. This will then give you skill points that you can use to spend on those multipliers that you would have gotten previously, kind of like a skill tree mechanic. And just so you know, it gets expensive fast. I have a 2 times multiplier for everything right now, and it's already like 1,000 points just to go up to like 2.25%. But here's the thing, right? The higher your level, the more skill points you're gonna get when you rebirth. But also, the higher your level, the longer it's gonna take you and more XP you're going to need to collect in order to continue leveling up to the next level. So there's going to be a bit of a balancing game going on how fast you can collect XP, when you should be rebirthing. That's going to come down to you and where you are currently. It's just something you're going to have to feel out. I can't give you a perfect number on when to rebirth, but do know that it is important to rebirth, and you are missing out if you're not taking advantage of these multipliers. These are good. Rebirth often. Oh boy, it's time to talk about Chao and Trails. This is probably the reason you guys even clicked on this video. Like I said earlier, you can't just level up Chao and Trails anymore by equipping them, you actually have to invest rings and red rings into them. Evolving has also changed. So you used to just be able to collect 5 of any Chao or any Trail, as long as they're identical, and then you could fuse them in your inventory, which would turn them into like the same Chao, but their stats would be times 5. And sadly, that is not how it works anymore. Now you have to use the fusion machine, which only accepts 5 identical max level Chao or Trails. That's right, you have to max level all 5 of them before you can even stick them in the machine. And then when they come out of the machine, you get a level 1 evolved Chao or Trail. You still have to raise the Chao after it's evolved. That means you have to dump even more rings and red rings into them. Hopefully now you guys understand why I was warning you about carefully spending your red rings. This is expensive. Getting one of my better Chao to be both evolved and max level took roughly 850 red rings. And I didn't even bother keeping track of how many regular rings it took. I have no clue. Oh man. Only if there was some way that we could figure out which Chao and Trail were actually worth raising. I made another spreadsheet. Much like the last video, I have created another spreadsheet containing every Chao and every Trail. Unlike last time, I started this spreadsheet online, that way anybody can look at it at any time. Links are in the description. This spreadsheet contains everything from Chao, Trails, their level 1 base stats, and a close approximation of their level 25 evolved stats. We were able to do this because thankfully Sonic Speed Simulator this time actually works with proper math. That's right, sit down everybody, it's math time. Okay, so whatever the stats are for your Chao or Trail at level 1, you're going to take those and multiply them by 2.5. Doing so will give you the exact stats of their level 1 evolved counterpart. This worked perfectly every single time we tried it. Now if you want to know what that's going to look like at max level evolved, we're going to take those same numbers we just got and then we're going to multiply them by 9. Doing so will roughly give us the answer of a level 25 evolved Chao or Trail. Now this isn't perfect, okay? Usually it's going to be a little higher or a little lower than the number that you get. But it should be close enough for you to be able to decide if you want to invest your rings and red rings into it. We're also going to go ahead and update the spreadsheet when we find out their actual level 25 evolve stats, but obviously that's going to take a while. So yeah, check out the spreadsheet, learn the formula, it's pretty helpful. Also, 2 side notes. 1, the magnet stat does not work with that formula. The magnet stat's just completely random, it's based on every Chao. Second side note, we noticed that some low-end trails, for some reason, just gain an ability when leveling up. I'm serious, it'll just not have a ring stat, and then it will have a ring stat. We don't know why. This seems to be an anomaly. It seems to only happen with low-end trails. I just figured I'd let you know. Maybe that's a mechanic they're working on, so obviously that information would not be in the spreadsheet, but we'll put it in there when we find out. Alright guys, it's time. It is officially time to tell you what the best Chao and Trail are definitively right now in the game. The answer might surprise you. Okay, so if we purely go off of single stats, the Detective Chao has the highest XP stat, the Sun-Kissed Chao has the highest ring stat, and the Racer Chao has the highest damage stat. All 3 of which can be obtained in the Eggman fight, all 3 of which also only have that single stat. Seriously, they only have 1 stat to their name. And that's something you're going to see a lot of in Sonic Speed Sim now. They've taken the time to rebalance Chao to have some stats higher than others, that way other Chao can be better in some areas, and kind of give every Chao a more of a use case. But that means that there really isn't a good balanced Chao right now. The closest thing I can probably think of is the Red Wisp. It has pretty okay stats all around, but it's not the greatest at anything. Also, the only way to get it is a vending machine that costs 9 million rings per spin, so it's probably going to be a while before you get a lot of those. Now, these other 3 Chao are also from the Eggman fight. They also only have 1 extremely high stat, but they are not as good as the other 3. So even though they aren't bad choices, I don't think it's really worth your time to invest rings into them, because if you're gonna be grinding out the Eggman fight, you might as well shoot for the better ones. Now, if you're still looking for some more relatively well-balanced Chao, here's a recommendation. The Crystal Chao has a decently high XP stat with a somewhat small ring stat, but like, hey, at least it has both. You also get 5 of them for free just by doing quests, and that cuts out a lot of the grinding or potential rings you have to spend. So honestly, like, not a bad choice if you want to try to evolve it and max level it. The Arctic Chao, funny enough, makes this list again by having a pretty okay XP stat and a pretty good ring stat. Actually, it's the 2nd best ring stat in the game right now. Speaking of 2nd best, the Tundra Chao is the 2nd best for damage, and it also has a pretty okay XP stat. Either of those would be pretty good options too, I'd say. Currently, there is no free Chao that has a magnet stat, although magnet is kind of nice to have, so like if you end up getting a magnet Chao, it could be worth it to invest your rings and stuff into that, because magnet's super helpful. Now that's about it for Chao. Here's your tier list. As far as trails go, it is so much simpler. The Burst Power Trail and the Purple Strike Trail both tie each other for predicted top stats in every single category. Seriously, these 2 are the best trails. Like, for some reason they didn't rebalance trails in the same way that they rebalanced Chao, where like each of them have a different purpose. No, these are just straight up the best in every category. Right now, the Burst Power Trail is also a reward for the Eggman fight, and if you're going to be doing the Eggman fight to get the Chao, I mean, it's not a bad investment to go ahead and try to get the Burst Power Trail. save some time. If you want to know, for some reason, the Moonfall Trail and the Pink Blossom Trail are the second best trails. I don't know why you would go for those, since like they are the second best in every category. Shoot for the big ones. But, I mean, hey, it's not a horrible option, I guess. And there you go, a new list of the best Chao and Trail for Sonic Speed Simulator. Again, the spreadsheet only has what is currently available. Now, if you have something from beforehand, or maybe after this video comes out, you can use this formula to figure out what its max stats are going to be. Or just keep an eye on the spreadsheet. I mean, we'll try to update it. Hopefully this video helped. Maybe you now have a better idea of which Chao and Trail to focus on. Maybe you want to smash that like button and hit subscribe. I might make another video later if things drastically change. But until then, I'll see you on Sonic Speed Simulator on Roblox.com.